So one of the most common thyroid medications that people are prescribed when they are diagnosed with thyroid disease, particularly with hypothyroidism, is they will get put on something called Synthroid. And Synthroid is a synthetic T4 only medication. So I want to go over with you why sometimes people will really struggle with this, why they still have symptoms, why they don't feel the best with something like Synthroid, and give you some other options that are out there and what you can do about it. If you could do me a very big favor though, first, if you could go ahead and subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell so you get notification every time I release a new video. So let's talk about Synthroid. So I was personally diagnosed with hypothyroidism when I was 22, and that was the first thing they put me on was Synthroid. Sometimes they will actually, depending on your pharmacy and how your insurance works, they might give you Synthroid, or they might give you levothyroxine. Levothyroxine and Synthroid, one is, it's the same thing, they're T4, but one's generic and one's brand name. So keep in mind that Synthroid and levothyroxine both, they are T4 only. There is no T3 in it. T3 is active thyroid hormone, T4 is inactive thyroid hormone. You don't make very much T3, you only make about 20% T3, it's not very much. And your body has to rely on the conversion then of T4 over to T3. Now, most of that conversion does not happen in the actual thyroid. It's happening in peripheral tissue. 60 to 70% happens in the liver, about 20% happens in the gut. So those things have to be really, really working quite well in order to get conversion. And most people with thyroid disease, they really struggle with conversion anyways. So that's why when you go on something like Synthroid, or it might be levothyroxine, that's why you might still really struggle. You might be like, I still have all these symptoms. It's not working. I don't understand. And it's because your body now has the T4, it's getting it externally from the medication, but your body still has to convert it over to active thyroid hormone. And that, like I mentioned, it's not easy to do. So some people will actually do better if they are really struggling with conversion, which is something that I look for and I test for when I work with my clients. If they're struggling with that, then you might actually benefit from a T4 and T3 combo medication, or you still take your T4, but you also add in a separate T3. So there's a lot of different options for that. Also, and I'll go over that in a second here, what kind of options we have with that, but also something else I wanted to mention, keep in mind as well that something like Synthroid or levothyroxine, they are synthetic. So they're this man-made synthetic medication, and Synthroid especially, it has a whole bunch of fillers in it. It has things like lactose, it has corn, it has dyes, and some people don't tolerate that. I know for me, I have a sensitivity to corn, and I do not do well with any type of dairy, definitely lactose. So that is one of the big reasons why I did not do well with something like Synthroid. It did not sit well with me at all. Even like levothyroxine, that is the other one that I mentioned too, that's also T4 only, and that has some fillers in it as well, and usually it actually has gluten in it. And again, most people with thyroid disease cannot tolerate gluten, so think about the fillers and stuff they have in there. The synthetic, the way they make it, sometimes that's why your body's not tolerating it, because maybe it's not even absorbing it because of the fillers, or you're having a reaction to it because of the fillers. So just kind of keep that in mind. If the doctor will only prescribe you a T4 only medication, and you want something that has no fillers, no gluten, sugar, dairy, those type of things, even corn, I would definitely consider something like Thyroid. Thyroid is a T4 only medication, but it has nothing in it. It's just straight. It's kind of a newer-ish one on the market, so some insurances aren't covering it. So just, talk to your doctor about that. But it is a great medication, a great alternative. If your doctor's like, no, I won't do any T3, but I will do Thyroid, that's a great option for you. Now, if you're thinking about, okay, maybe I actually do need some T3. Now, keep in mind, the doctors actually have to assess your free T3 on thyroid blood testing, and a lot of times they won't, which is why they also will not prescribe you T3 medication, because they're not even checking it on blood testing. So if they're not checking it, they're not going to prescribe it to you. But let's say you get it checked, your T3 is really low, and you're like, I actually would like to add some T3 in. So if you're doing it separately, Cytomel and liothyronine are two T3 only medications. They have a few fillers in them, definitely way less than something like Synthroid or levothyroxine. Just a few things. They don't have gluten or anything like that, but they do have, some of them have corn, some of them might even have a little bit of lactose. but there's definitely way less than like the T4 only medications, like Synthroid and levothyroxine. So just keep that in mind. It could be an alternative. I have a lot of clients that do quite well with having this separate. They'll have T4 only, like tyrosine, and then they'll do like Cytomel or liothyronine for the T3. You know, if they are talking to the doctor and they're working together with keeping their T4, T3 numbers in check on blood testing, looking at that. And then of course there's combo medications. So you can do combo medications where it has T3 and T4 in it combined. And the disadvantage and the harder challenge with this is that when your dosage is kind of in between, and this is what happened with me, was I needed a little more T3 but a little less T4 or vice versa. And in these T3, T4 combos, they're set. Like each grain has a certain amount of T3 and a certain amount of T4. So that's the challenge that I ran into. But again, still a great alternative. Now keep in mind, some of them do still have, because it is still a synthetic type of thing. It's you know made by a drug company. It might have some fillers in it. So again, check those out. I do have a list of the medications and the fillers if you need that. Just comment below and I can get that over to you. But Armor, Synthroid, those are two really good ones that have much less fillers. They don't have gluten and all that stuff in them, but they have a lot less fillers. They're definitely more pure. There are some other ones, Synthroid as well. That one seems to have a little bit more fillers that I've noticed lately. But Thyroid and Armor are probably two of your better bets when it comes to that. So for me, because I mentioned that I am always in between my dosage with T3, T4, and I don't take very much anymore, but I still kind of am in between, I have mine compounded. So my medications, I have it compounded at a compound pharmacy. They actually make it from pig gland, is essentially what it's from, which is what natural desiccated thyroid medication is, the ones that I mentioned where it has the T3, T4 combo, like Armor, Thyroid, those things, they're NDT, so they're pig gland basically. But I have mine compounded, so I get T3 and T4, the exact dose that I need at a compounding pharmacy, no fillers at all. And I do quite well with that. So just keep that in mind, that there's different alternatives that you have for that. So there are also so many other reasons why just thyroid medication isn't making you feel good regardless of what you're taking. I could go on and on about that, but there's a lot of reasons why that can happen. Like maybe you're not absorbing the medication, maybe you're not using the medication, maybe the thyroid hormones aren't going inside the cells. And that's all the things that I test with my clients to make sure that we're optimizing your body so that A, you actually absorb the thyroid medication, and B, like they're actually using the thyroid hormones that you're taking, they're going inside your cells. So if you have any questions with that, let me know. I know this was a lot of information. If you have questions about some of the medications that I mentioned, definitely about the fillers, I have information on that as well that I can get over to you. Just drop a comment below and I will get that over to you. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.